So Hilda's a thing, and if you haven't seen it then you really should, because it's one of the best shows I have ever seen. So on a channel where we usually talk about films and repitch them, I thought, let's mix it up, and today I'm going to do a TV show. So today I want to talk about Hilda. For those that don't know, Hilda is a critically acclaimed animated children's television show on Netflix that premiered in September of 2018. It is an adaptation of a graphic novel series by Luke Pearson. The show follows a young girl named Hilda and her friends and family on their adventures in a fantastical world that draws heavily on Norse mythology. The show boasts excellent voice acting, a spellbinding synth-based soundtrack from composer Ryan Carlson, and a show theme composed by Canadian musician Grimes. The music is so good that I could recommend the show based on that alone, but there is so much more going on here. With a second season scheduled for fall of 2020 and a full-length animated movie in development, now is the best time to watch this hidden gem. Plus, it's not like you're going anywhere with the world the way it is right now. Hilda has an absolutely adorable art style that is lifted straight from the comic. But don't let that fool you into thinking that this show is only for children. It has a deeply creative and engrossing lore that reminded me of Adventure Time. Although it does not have the same sense of humor as Adventure Time, the show has a unique voice that evoked a sense of wonder and awe in me as much as any children's show should. Hilda follows a recent trend in children's television called Hope Punk or Hopecore. This kind of television doesn't patronize the younger audience, and as a result, many older viewers are drawn in as well. Children's programming has, for a while now, gone beyond teaching morals at point-blank range through repetition and brute force. I watched Hilda when I was going through a particularly bad week, and the show immediately conveys a very relaxed and welcoming feeling. The story taught compassion and empathy without beating me over the head with it. I'll say it again, the art style in Hilda is adorable. Just look at Hilda's cute little boots, or her beret, or Twig, her pet deer fox. Come on. I also want to mention the soundtrack again, as it was the most prominent part of creating Hilda's unique voice and delightful experience. Seriously, just watch it for the music and you will not be disappointed. The show sets itself apart from other children's media by creating real characters. It tackles issues that kids would deal with in real life. It also doesn't have that heavy-handed moral revelation that was so prominent in afternoon specials of the 80s and 90s. This is even more of an achievement when you realize that all of the children in the show are played by child voice actors, which is fairly unusual. In animation, most children are played by adults doing a kind of younger child voice.
What's going to happen now?
I don't know. But a Sparrow Scout is prepared for anything. Flashlight, water, matches, camping knife, and rations for 3 days.
Can I share your rations?
Every one of the child characters feels believable, and they're able to meet the needs of the story's themes exceptionally well. But the character that stood out the most to me in the first couple episodes was actually Hilda's mother. Played by Daisy Haggard, who is no exception to the show's outstanding voice cast, Hilda's mom, Joanna, is the second most important character introduced in the show, apart from Twig. It is in the way that she is handled as the second most important character, and the relationship that she and Hilda share, where I think the show truly shines. Often in children's shows, the parental figures are background characters. They're often explained away for one reason or another, or are simply not important enough to be mentioned in the story. The times that they are prominent tend to follow one of three ways. They're the villain, they represent the idea of growing up, and that's still a bad idea or bad theme, or they are an advisor to the child, offering advice when the child asks. Hilda's mother is none of these things. At best, she resembles an advisor archetype, but she is so much more than that. For starters, she is an active member of the plot, by contributing both to the conflict and to the solutions. She actively listens to and supports Hilda in matters dealing with relationships and conflict resolution, and she directly contributes to making sure Hilda has the skills to achieve her own goals. As a result, she becomes more than just the grown-up archetype. Joanna is a real mother, and the way that she and Hilda interact is one of the best parts of the show. I'm going to look at episode 3 of season 1, titled The Bird Parade, to explore this kind of idea, and there will be some spoilers, so go ahead and watch the show and then you can pick this up another time. In this episode, Joanna starts by encouraging Hilda to make friends after they've moved to Trollberg, a new city. Hilda is unimpressed with her new friends as they are mean to birds that were just minding their own business. It turns out that one of the birds can talk, and Hilda takes this raven home. This bird seems to have amnesia and cannot remember who he is.
So, what's your name?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I hate to say this, but he's not a great interview.
Meanwhile, the whole town is getting ready for a parade that celebrates the coming of the Great Raven, which is a good omen for the people who live in Trollberg. Hilda's mother finds the raven and shoos it outside because why would a child need to keep a bird in her room? She is unaware that the raven was special and can talk. The raven and Hilda's friend Alfred the elf decide to try and find a specific statue to help jog the raven's memory. When Hilda finds out what her mother did, she and her mother work together to save the bird and tell him that he is the Great Raven that the people of Trollberg are waiting to see. In the beginning, it appears that Joanna is the bad guy as she instigates the raven going missing. Most of the plot stems from this issue, but that is okay because it's clear that she is looking out for her daughter, and that's made pretty clear in the episodes that precede this one.
Oh, my head is so itchy.
Let me check it.
Do I have nits?
Not knits. Mittens.
Any good character should have flaws, and when these flaws lead to conflict, this is an opportunity for character growth. In this case, what follows after the raven is let loose is far more important than Joanna deciding to let the raven go. Oftentimes when adults are background characters, they are oblivious to the fantasy world that their children are a part of. This is either because the adult has lost the magic, or they are unaware of magic, or maybe that the fantasy only exists within the world of make-believe in the child's mind. Which is fine, and can make for some really cute narratives, but this show does none of those things. When Hilda explains that the bird is special because it can talk, Joanna responds not with amusement at Hilda, or disbelief, or even by humoring her daughter, but with genuine confusion because,
Well, he didn't say anything to me.
Joanna is ready to put the word of her daughter above her own understanding of the situation or the world. There is an argument that could be made that Joanna has already seen the magic of the world. Both she and Hilda have seen its presence, and that's an important factor to take into account, but while other members of the town are skeptical of those who have heard the raven talk, Joanna chooses to take Hilda's word immediately. It is so gratifying to see a parent character agree with a child over something that they feel passionate about. It's a small detail in the overall plot, but it was such an outstanding moment in their relationship. Hilda's opinion matters, and just because Joanna wants what's best for Hilda, it doesn't mean she knows best about Hilda. She listens and chooses to believe her daughter. This is so important, and the fact that the show doesn't make a big deal out of it makes it even more important. This should be the norm for characters like this, and it is for Hilda and Joanna. Hilda and Joanna then have a conversation about making friends, which is the crux of the episode, as Hilda finds it easier to be friends with creatures, but is struggling to make friends with other children. But when Hilda tells her mom that the kids she was hanging out with threw rocks at the birds, her mother tells her,
In that case, I'm proud of you for not making friends.
Joanna demonstrates the understanding that Hilda is responsible and smart enough to make her own decisions about right and wrong. It's incredibly satisfying to see this kind of autonomy given to a child and to have Joanna affirm Hilda's decisions about making friends. The two characters then reconcile for their past mistakes. Joanna is still Hilda's mom, but Hilda has her voice heard and affirmed. Joanna and Hilda then make a plan to help locate the raven and Alfred. In this scene, Hilda and Joanna are running towards the bridge to catch the raven. Joanna uses a shortcut to help Hilda get to this location as fast as possible. It's an action moment for Joanna, and shows that, she can also be a badass. There are a few other moments in the show that also show Joanna's badassery. Like the moment when Hilda drops into her mother's arms and Joanna is worried and proud and relieved all at once, and the very end when she finally agrees to sign the paperwork so she can see Alfred the elf, which again easily could have been played off as though it was just imaginary, but it isn't. And this is just one of the great characters throughout the show. There are other great story arcs for other characters, and they all have their own obstacles they overcome. But the show never beats you over the head with the morals. It uses subtle storytelling techniques to show how understanding another person's perspective can change how you see your position in the world, which is exactly what the first two episodes are about. I found the show refreshing and relaxing, and it was exactly what I needed on a rainy day after a bad week. So go and watch Hilda. I'm gonna go watch it for like the fourth time. Also, that soundtrack is so good! Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed that video, why not give it a like, or maybe subscribe for more awesome videos from me and my friend Nate ranting about bad movies, or stick around for other rants from me, DeJangles the Strange.